Welcome back, traders. Today I'll show you a realistic yet profitable strategy for Forex. Today we'll focus on the Canadian yen. There were some great moves last week, and we'll take a quick recap of that. We'll use a combination of free tools, and later I'll share how I personally streamline everything with a more automated workflow. So we'll go step by step. We'll check the trend, zones, entry, stops, targets, all using tools available to everyone. Right, so let's begin. We start with pure price action. We're on the daily chart for Canadian yen. Um, and right now, this pair is showing, clear uh, range, right, heading into last week. So let me skip this, move this back a bit. This was on Thursday last week. Okay, so we see it, trying. Let me mark out some resistance zones here. We've seen that Canadian has been testing this resistance area here, right, and it has been failing, right. So probably during that time, lots of fake outs, right? But yet these levels give us the roadmap for where high probability trades form. Okay, so we can also take a look at the lower time frame. So we go to the 1 hour and let's see what's happening there, right? So that resistance zone has been tested a couple of times. In fact, it's been forming this kind of let me use this kind of squeezing wedge here, right? And normally, when you see this, a few things could happen, right? Either there's a break and retest and continuation, right? Or there's a some kind of a fake out into going back into the range, right? There's always two things that can happen when we hit these critical areas, right? Um, so what we'll do now is let's pull out the free indicator here, an EMA, a 50 EMA, if you prefer, or 100. Depends on how strong you want your trend confirmation to be. So for now, let's use the 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame, right? And let's see what happens, right? So as we play this out, uh, let's check a bit. So there's been some fake outs there outside of the wedge. Finally, a breakout and no retest. It just keeps going up. So here we start paying attention to something else, right? This new resistance zone that's been created here. Some of you, if I may zoom in, will have taken trades here when price broke out of the wedge above the 50 EMA, right? But personally, I prefer a break of the bigger structure, right, which is this new resistance zone. So obviously, as it hits that area, there's some interesting price action there, some rejection. Um, but what I would take is this new move going up, right? So if we check the 5 minute chart, this portion here was actually where it faked out was actually I would think, and this was a Friday, right? So normally we wouldn't trade Fridays as well, as it's we wouldn't be able to protect our stops, our entries, and we'll take a loss here as it jumps back down, right, heading into Monday. So normally we'd take it on a Monday or Tuesday, which is precisely this new retest here, right? So this is a nice breakout right here, and what we'd like to do is to take Let's see, a candle confirmation. This is a good one. Strong bullish candle above the 50 EMA. We're on the 5 minute chart. Put our stops on the swing low here, and then initially mark a 2 hour trade. So you have it there too, right? And let's just take a bar replay. All right, price above 50 EMA, and it's going up, right? After it breaks 2R, I prefer setting my stop to the break even portion, break even price, to protect our trade, and then we trail it from there. From there, I would pull up a super trend indicator. Again, this is a free tool available on TradingView, and I would trail my stops accordingly, right? So once price breaks here, the trade is done, right? So you would have gotten a 2.68R just by getting really good confirmations, waiting a bit, waiting for price to break, waiting for it to pull back and retest that level, and then break again, and then take the move from there. Okay, so sorry about that. That's essentially how I trade, right? How we've done everything manually, right? And we can automate that. So personally, this is a tool that I use to streamline my workflow. All right, so let me clear up the lines here. Let me pull back to the 1 hour time frame. Let's erase everything. And let me pull up my own system here. So I call it Market Solver Pro. And if we zoom out again, it basically automates all of those things I did, right? From identifying structure, looking for trend continuation, risk management, etc. And I have a nifty little performance table summary right here, just to check and backtest automatically all the trades it's taken. So currently on the 1 hour time frame, it's running 246% compound PNL at a 31% win rate, which is pretty good. For seasoned traders, you would know this is a respectable win rate, right? Um, so if we zoom in here on the 5 minute chart, okay, let me rewind a bit. So you would notice here, as I mentioned earlier, we did not actually trade from this. Sorry, let me go back to the wire. Let me draw up again our 1 hour wedge, right? Okay, we're getting live signals as we speak, but we ignore that because we're already in an active trade in, I think, Aussie yen. Anyway, so we in fact did not uh, take a trade after the breakout of this wedge. So let's go back to the 5 minute, because in our system that is still in this shaded area, which is a no trade zone, right? So we've blended a cocktail of confirmations underneath the hood, and you see no signals here. But as we play this replay, you'll see the buy signal appear here after it senses multiple confirmations. This is again on the 5 minute chart, and let's run this trade. Right, let me just click through this. So you see this green line here is the stop loss. It's similar to the super trend I showed earlier, right? And you can do that yourself, right? I just showed you can use an EMA, you can use market structure, taking entries and setting your stops based on super trend. You're free to do that, right? But here we've automated the stop loss indicators to show you where to trail your stops and maximize your winners, right? So it keeps going, and then we get stopped out at 6.82 reward to risk ratio. So that's a nifty 13.64% on the 5 minute time frame across 35 trades. Canadian yen for this strategy has compounded 85% growth of your equity. Right? So pretty good. Win rate of 25.7%. Still pretty good. Our largest loss was a 2% loss, right, for a single trade. But our biggest winner is a 38.5%, sometime I think a few weeks back, right? So essentially, we automatically plot the trend bias, the zones, and the signals I just walked you through. But again, everything can be done with free tools if you wish, right? So I just use this because it helps me work faster and reduces charting mistakes. I set up alerts, and then it just tells me when to look at the charts, right? So I'm not staring at charts the whole day. Yeah, so in summary, we confirm the trend with a simple tool like an EMA. We draw lines on the bigger time frames to just mark out the significant support and resistance zones. We wait for price to hit a pivot, a support, or resistance, and we enter only on a confirmation candle, right? After we enter, we place stops logically beyond the zone. I prefer using the super trend or a similar tool like this. And ultimately, optionally, you may want to automate the workflow the way I do. Right? So this keeps your trading realistic and consistent, and something that you can rely on to continually grow your equity. Right. So that's about it, right? If you enjoyed this breakdown, comment below which instrument you want me to cover for next week. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next chart.